Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Folks, welcome into the Trainwreck Playoff Happy Hour. It is Degenerate Danger Zone. I'm your host, Ty B. We got Meerkat, some guy named Steve, and Slick Al joining me on what is one of the greatest days in all of baseball, Manoah Day. Alek Manoah going strong in the bottom of the sixth inning right now. 7, might be 8 Ks now, and he is just making this Yankees lineup his little bitch. That's all I got to say. We're not going to dwell on it. You might hear me yell a couple things because I'm still watching the game on my second screen. But Meerkat, we're talking about rat traps here. I called it out the other night, that Clippers line. I was like, something's wrong. The Clippers, why are they favored by so much? They did not look very good in game one. I expect them to bounce back and win, hopefully. But when I saw that line, I was like, something's fishy. And we're looking at these NBA lines here tonight, and it kind of feels like there might be some cheese dangled in front of us as well.
Yeah, the first, I know I'm the homer, I'm the resident Nuggets fan, whatever, but the Nuggets still being underdogs after what they did last game, it's just, I think the people just love Dame. Honestly, the lines moved a little to +3.5, so I mean, Nuggets getting a little action there from the public, but still, it just doesn't make sense to me. Game one. The Nuggets are a team of adjustments. I keep saying it. They always adjust. You saw them last year's playoffs. They came back from 2 huge deficits because they adjusted, found their game, the rhythm, what works. And while other teams stay stagnant, they're not afraid to go on the fly, one game into another, changing their play style. They did that from game 1 to game 2. And, game 1, they also only had 8 free throws. That's not going to happen again with this team. Game 2, they let Dame fire away, focused on the rest of the team, because if you shut down CJ a bit, you don't let Carmelo go off and, Anthony, guys like that, they're nothing other than Lillard. And so let Lillard score all he wants like they did last game. The Nuggets found their balance. Monte Morris is getting equal minutes with Campazzo now. It's a huge factor. And they're getting scoring all over the place. So I'm laying – what do we got?
Nope. Just a lot out.
I'm going 2 units on the Nuggets spread +3.5 and a unit on the money line.
Yeah, and we got Cody Miles chiming in. What's up, Cody? He says Suns 6.5 and Nuggets 3.5 tonight. Steve, you wanted to be talked into it. Were you talked into it to take the Nuggets here tonight, or are they rat trapping us again?
I'm leaning towards the Nuggets. Meerkat always talks me into the Nuggets, and I love Jokic. I think he's just a mismatch for the Trailblazers. But I think the bigger rat trap is the Heat Bucks line. It's looking at -1.5 right now for the Bucks. They just won by, I think it was 32 the other night, and now you're getting a game at essentially a pick'em. The Heat looked embarrassed. Milwaukee's bench depth was incredible. You had Forbes, Connaughton, all playing great. Giannis had, I think, 30 points and 13 rebounds. But I'm terrified to touch that line. I'm terrified. Do any of you guys have a feel on that game?
I mean, honestly, if you want to bet that, I think Bucks money line wouldn't be a bad bet. After how they played last time, the spread might be a trap, but the money line's right there at -118, close to even money. Heat are at even money, but a spread that doesn't trap me tonight is Phoenix Suns +6.5 on the road in LA. I really like that pick. I think they're going to go and rattle the Lakers there in the Staples Center a little bit at home. What do you think about that, Ty B?
No, I think that's a good play there. I think the Lakers fans aren't super crazy, super nuts. They're not gonna,
they're not the Knicks fans. They're not the Knicks fans
or the
either.
Knicks fans. No. And so I think the environment's not going to be, too big for these guys. Plus, you have Chris Paul, who's a very good veteran steadying force. I'd like them to keep it at least very close in this one here. Alek Manoah working his way out of the inning. Love to see it. And I think that's a perfect point. But Maniac here says Clippers money line a lock tonight. No, it's not. It's not a lock tomorrow night. But yeah, I think the same thing with that Bucks Heat game. I'm gonna be steering very clear of that one just because of that number. Meerkat, I know you think the Bucks are frauds, but at 1.5, are you touching this one?
I can't bet against the Heat. I just can't bet against this Heat team, especially against the Bucks that go against everything I've ever said. But I'm just saying, I don't disagree with what Slick Al said tonight. But it's the sketchiest line I've ever seen after last game. Like Stevie talked about it already. I'm avoiding this game like the plague. I don't know, but you brought up the Suns a bit. I'm riding with the Suns plus 6.5. Cody Miles had him too. He's on the Nuggets and Suns with me. Let's go, Cody. But, Suns look so good in game one. CP3 gets hurt a little bit, throws them off their rhythm in game two, and AD gets going. I think the Suns got to realize you can't try to stop LeBron and AD at the same time. You need to focus on, one of them disrupting their game somehow and go back to doing it with AD. I think he's more important because LeBron's just going to run free and do what he wants, flop wherever he wants, whatever. And it's just a lot of points. I got it at 7. It's at 6.5 now. CP3, if he's doing any better, that's just going to boost their defense a bunch because last game obviously hobbled, and the pick and roll is their weapon with CP3 running that. So if he's feeling a bit better, they're running those efficiently like they were in game one. Get a little more out of Aiden. It's just too many points not to take the Suns.
No, I think absolutely. And great point by Cody D-Book going for 40. I wouldn't be surprised.
I could totally see it.
Yeah. You're not going to get 24 out of Dennis Schroeder again.
Center.
No, exactly. Like that's like Derek Booker's or Devin Booker's moment. Like a lot of these young guys are starting to have their moment. Like you saw Ja the other day, 47 after getting the upset in game one. And some of these other guys are doing it as well. Jason Tatum has made a name for himself. Yeah, Luka. Yeah. So I think we could see the same thing, and I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if you saw the Suns win Game 3 here. I think that's a great opportunity to catch them lacking going back home. But let's move on here to the NHL, where we have 2 games here tonight. Canadiens Maple Leafs starting it off there, 7 o'clock. Canadiens big favorites minus 245. The Canadiens are having struggle scoring, so it'll be interesting, that one. But Carolina, Nashville, been a very, very interesting series. Carolina minus 143. This game is in Nashville where the fans are absolutely wild. I know, Steve, you got a play you're really liking out there in that 9:30 game.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Predators money line today. I think it's around like plus 125. They've won the last 4 home games against the Hurricanes, and it's no difference because their fans are wild, and the Predators, they get into it. They always play up at home. They're just one of those teams that's significantly better at home than they are on the road. And these last 3 games in this series have been a war. Carolina got out to a commanding 2-0 lead. Everyone thought, oh, this is a sweep. This is a sweep. Last 3 games, double overtime, overtime. I mean, this series it's just been a war. They've been grueling, just physical series all game long. And really, when I look at this, it's just take the value with the plus money, right? I think this series is going to go 7. The Predators and Hurricanes have played each other. They're familiar with each other. And I like the way the Predators have kind of looked the past couple games. I know Carolina is still out shooting them, but that's just kind of how Carolina's offense works. That's how they go. I'm just taking the plus money because I really think the Predators are going to force a game 7.
So I'd love to see it taking the plus money there with Nashville. But we got Donnie 10 Tanks in here rolling in straight from the creek. Hurricanes, Predators. Are you riding with Steve on the Predators here tonight? Do you think they can extend this series?
I am. First, I want to apologize for being late, but they were giving out free money at the creek. I had to be there. You can't miss out on that. But I'm with the Preds. I like it for what he just said, the value. This has been back and forth. I thought Carolina, I thought for me, the top 4 teams going into this were Avs, Golden Knights, Toronto, and Carolina. But the way this series has gone and how good Tampa Bay's looked, I might have to adjust that. But I could see this easily going to 7. The Preds are at home. I think Steve probably covered most of this already. The value there is great. So I'm with it. I'm riding it. My money's on it. And I even got it in a nice little crazy plus money parlay that I got going. 3 sport plus money, all of it. It's the playoffs, folks. You got to do it.
Absolutely. I think Slick, you're riding with them as well. This might be like the full house on it.
Yeah, absolutely. As Steve said, these Predators fans, they're rowdy as hell, and it's worth noting that the 2 games that they have won in this series, both in Nashville, both happen to go to double overtime as well. That's something to look out for. I think we see a close game, but I can't see Nashville losing this. I think they send it to 7 as well. Might be a full house on this one.
Yeah, stack them up where we got a full house. I like Nashville.
All right.
I'm tweaking it a bit. I'm going Nashville plus 1.5 parlayed with the Leafs money line. Everything you guys said about Nashville, plus you've seen the overtimes and stuff. I'm going to play it safe with that plus 1.5. It's going to be a close game. I like them to win still, but then I think the Leafs run the Canadians tonight. They're just a better, deeper team. And, fuck the Canadians after losing 2 straight for R2. I want to see them fall tonight. So a little plus money, just about even, plus 105, 102. So I love that.
I do like that play, Meerkat. I think the Maple Leafs are going to end this series because that thought in my mind the entire time is Canadians back against the wall, 1 goal. Like, you're pulling the goalie early tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. So that's a great opportunity for the Maple Leafs to at least, get 1 or 2 empty net goals and really save you there. So maybe even think about the minus 2.5. You can get froggy with this one because those situations are in play if you trust the Maple Leafs to be in the lead going into the end of the game there. Donnie, what do you think about that? You think the minus 2.5?
I do. I like that. I caught the Avs at a couple minus 2.5s, but that team's built differently. They're just nasty. I do think Steve and I were talking in the text about it. I was torn between I like Maple Leafs minus 1.5, minus 2.5. That's good, but I'm gonna have to. We're getting in tough territory because another side of me thinks Price shows up in an elimination game, and if the Leafs do cover, it might only be at a 2-zip, 3-zip thing. I'm actually riding the under in this game. Now, this is a very strange for betting. There's in terms of margin of winning, betting a spread like minus 1.5 or minus 2.5 and hitting the under, our margins are very slim to hit both of these. But I got to go with my gut. I think Price holds out. I also think the Canadians, I don't know if they get a goal or more than 1. So I'm looking for a 3-1, 4-1 Leafs victory, staying under that 5.5. It's a little juiced up. I think it's at minus 130, 140. Yep. But I like that as well for that game.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But again, that minus 2.5 at plus 195, I think it's entirely possible. Super in play because of the situation. So that's another thing about the playoffs. Make sure you know what's going on. That's why you have to know what's going on in these series, and that's why you got to tune in to the Degenerate Danger Zone. Stevie, I know you've been hot with these baseball plays lately. You got to be targeting something here tonight. I know Robbie Ray's on the bump for game 2 of this doubleheader with the Blue Jays and Yankees, but what are you looking at?
Well, we had Alex Manoah this afternoon, Tybee, at plus 110. Loved that. I got only just one tonight, and it's the Orioles White Sox over 8.5. We got Bruce Zimmerman versus Dylan Cease. And if you listen to the Fantasy Baseball podcast, Ty, you would have heard us talk about that Dylan Cease was due for regression with the amount of walks he issues. And that's the big thing. Last start, I think he faced the Yankees, five runs allowed in 4 1/3 inning. 4 more walks, and Bruce Zimmerman's just terrible for the Orioles. He's got a 5.5 ERA, a 1.6 WHIP. I mean, the White Sox are going to have no problems hitting him, and I think Cease, the Orioles are a sneaky good hitting team and a sneaky good walking team. I think Dylan Cease is going to put some base runners on, and 8.5 is not that high of a number. I like the over there.
Seriously, Cedric Mullins is hitting 330 almost, something like that this year.
Trey Mancini playing great too.
Which you absolutely love to see after everything that he's gone through. And unfortunately, my guy Alek Manoah will not get the opportunity for the complete game, as it looks like Jordan Romano is going to be coming out of the bullpen looking for the save to take the first 2 games of the series against the New York Yankees. Sorry, guys, the Jays might be getting hot coming into Buffalo, and that's exactly what I love to see. But, guys, anything else out there you're targeting tonight? Any player props, any MLB, anything?
I got a sneaky sprinkle parlay here at plus 690. Nuggets money line, Predators money line, and Maple Leafs money line. plus 690. Just sprinkle a little bit. We're all big on these teams tonight. Just a little sprinkle, nothing much.
That was a good value.
Very good.
I love that because when I spoke of a plus money parlay that I was all about and has way bigger odds than I normally touch, two of the teams he mentioned are on that. I have a plus money parlay as well. It's ballsy, folks. We're looking in the 1100 range, but it's Preds money line, Nuggets money line, and I liked -1.5 for the A's. Changed it to -1. Here's my reasoning on it. If it hits at -1, that's plus 950. If it pushes, you still get plus 435 with the Preds and Nugs together. So it's, again, sprinkle a little bit. We're not, putting the house on it. But I like Steve, I saw there's between the Preds and the Nugs, those lines, I think there was too much value there. And the A's, they're actually also a player prop I'm riding today. They got Bassett on the mound. He's been averaging, about, 8 strikeouts a game. He's been looking real good. They are facing the Angels and Ohtani, but I do like Bassett, the prop over 5.5 strikeouts.
The prop was over 8.5 strikeouts, guys.
Fair enough. I guess I'll just take the belt over then. But I got a player prop in the NBA. Anthony Simons of the Trailblazers over 5.5 points. He's been a player that I wouldn't have suspected would be a key player in this series, but he is, and he's balling out each night. A young player. He's playing, I think this is going to be his first playoff game in Portland, if I'm correct. Put on a show. More than 5.5 points, that's very doable. This
That's
kid's
2
electric.
threes.
Yeah, that's 2 shots potentially. This kid's been electric in this series and really surprised me as a player that's improved and made a name for himself this series. So,
No, I like that a lot. So, Meerkat, any last words? Any last picks?
No, I'm all in tonight. Hitting the Nuggets 2 ways. Suns got that Leafs Preds parlay. I'm probably just going to take all of these picks, throw them in a round robin too. There's a lot of things I like tonight.
No, absolutely. Love to hear it, Meerkat. But shout out to everyone tuning in to Degenerate Danger Zone and the Trainwreck Playoff Happy Hour. Make sure you're following us over at Degenerate Zone for more content like the dart of the day. Meerkat, what are you on today? Let the people know.
I think it's D-backs plus 1.5. It's
Yeah,
pretty much parlay fodder, but
parlay
it was the 200th. Yeah, 250th pick, so that's exciting. Big games tonight, 9:40 against the Cardinals. We'll see.
Steve's Cardinals.
Cardinals win by 1. That's all we need, right?
Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals win by 1. Both parties are happy. And the Dark can hopefully shake off this cold streak that it fell into with the Canadians on back-to-back picks. So that's why, we're riding with the Leafs here tonight.
I get chills.
All my homies hate the Canadians. You know what it is. But make sure you guys get over to the creek, get online. If it's Bovada, get your last bets in while you can. Do whatever you gotta do. Go out there and get that free money. We'll be back with some NHL previews, and then Jake and Dunny and some of you guys will be back again for the Happy Hour Hoops NBA previews. But that'll do it for us. Good night. Now,
Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
folks, what is up? Dwayne will be here in a minute to join us to break down some of these NHL games here tonight. But it is Ty B and Donnie in the Trainwreck Playoff Happy Hour as the Blue Jays just clinched Alek Manoah's first win and won 2 straight in a row against the Yankees. Love to see it. Love to see it. But we're here. We got 2 games here tonight. Potential series clinchers for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Carolina Hurricanes in different situations. Toronto obviously at home, Carolina on the road where they've struggled a bit against the Predators in recent games. But let's start up in Canada. Canadians, Maple Leafs. Montreal is really struggling to score here, Donnie. How do you see their chances tonight in Toronto?
Unfortunately, I don't see their chances really changing. I mean, they look good, shocking them that game one. I'm sure all the Leafs fans out there were saying, "Here we go again," but it doesn't look that way. It looks like the Leafs are actually, bounce back. Their offense has been great. They two of the games that they're put up at least 5 goals. I think they get it done tonight. I don't. Even if Montreal pulls out a win, it'll be an elimination, gut wrenching win. But I don't think this series is coming back at all. I think Toronto pretty much has this one wrapped up, and not much else to say about that. Other than I guess Toronto fans can look out that there is a chance Tavares might be back for these playoffs, which I'm shocked by. I thought he was done for the season, maybe next season. Anytime a guy has to be rushed to the hospital for a concussion, it's serious. It's very serious. But I just read today he was back at the practice facility, and so that's exciting news stuff for the Toronto fans to be hyped about. As Tavares, he might be back if they can get, if they can last in the playoffs.
Yeah, and let's bring in Dwayne here to talk a little bit about this series here up in Canada. Dwayne, we saw Toronto play really well in that last game to get the win to go up 3-1 in this series. They've won 3 straight games at home. They're 18-7-3. On the season at home. They really did well against that Northern Division at home. And you have the Canadians who have struggled to score. It's unbelievable how good Jack Campbell has looked in this series. A guy who was a complete afterthought in the league at times. He was just pretty much shipped off for a bag of pucks out of LA. No one thought he had anything left in the tank. And somehow the Toronto Maple Leafs have revitalized him, and he's sort of stabilized things there between the pipes. But do you think there's any chance here Montreal has to extend this series to, give themselves a chance to advance?
It's tough. That team, that's a good Montreal hockey team. They made some good moves in the offseason. They brought in Tyler Toffoli, which, don't talk to any Vancouver Canucks fans about that because it's absolutely bananas that they didn't bring that guy back with how well he played for them last year. Insane. But I just think just top to bottom, Toronto is just too good of a hockey team. And the emergence of Jack Campbell and just the story of Jack Campbell itself is awesome. How long it took him to get here. I think it was a Toronto Star or the Toronto Sun did a story on him, and they interviewed a lot of his former goalie partners, my co-host Johnny Cullen being one of them. And one of the things that every single one of them said about him is he is legitimately the nicest guy you will ever, ever, ever meet. And he's so nice. It's like you almost think that he's faking it. Like he's just being too nice. There's no way a human being is this nice. Like, no, he's actually that nice of a person. Like the type that not won't have a pot to piss him. It'll get the shirt, give you the sweater off his back. It's the way he is, and it's a cool story to hear that you have just a genuine human being, the struggle of coming up in his career and getting to this point, and in the hockey mecca of Toronto. And I hate saying that out loud. Trust me, it fucking boils my blood, but it's going to be tough to beat that hockey team, especially when Johnny T comes back. We all saw him on the ice today, having a light skate, shooting pucks, which is extremely difficult to believe that a week ago that guy looked like he was almost going to die on the ice. And now he's back on the ice a week later. It's absolutely mind-blowing, but it is a breath of fresh air. It's nice to see him back. I don't see Montreal coming back in this series. I think it's done tonight.
Yeah, it's just going to be so tough for them to battle back, and their struggles being able to score it's going to be too much for them to overcome. Campbell has a .965 save percentage, only giving up 1.01 goals against in the playoffs. Recorded his first career playoff shutout the other night too. It's just so much. But let's hop over here to the other series. Carolina Hurricanes travel into Nashville here. Game 6, Carolina looking to close things out here in Nashville, but Nashville has been very good at home. I think won 3 or 4 in a row against the Hurricanes in Nashville. And it's This is going to be a very fun matchup. You know what this Nashville crowd brings, Dwayne. What do you see in this series? You think we're going to get 7?
It's all going to be on Saros, right? I mean, he needs to keep performing well. Halfway into the season, they were done like dinner. Nobody thought that this Nashville team had what it took to get to the playoffs, even with the way these divisions are broken up. No one thought they had a shot, and they really surprised a lot. Even Matthias Ekholm was on the trade block halfway through the season, one of their assistant captain, one of their leaders, and then now he's one of the anchors on this team still. So do they have what it takes? I mean, yeah, sure, but I think that Canes team is just that much better. I think the Hurricanes are just built to win. Nedeljkovic, I still have trouble with his name. Nedeljkovic. He's been outstanding. Another big surprise this season. And it's funny. Where are all these goalies when Buffalo needs them? Like, where are they coming from? Like, it's like Saros, Nedeljkovic, even Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot was available in the offseason. No, we stuck with Carter Hutton. Cam Talbot's out here having a career season with Minnesota. It's really depressing as a Sabres fan to see all these, I don't want to say no-name goalies, but these guys just really perform much better than expected. And just, yeah, we still had Carter Hutton on our roster. He was still there. Really depressing.
Show what the playoff stage can do, though, because even in Sabres teams in the past, we've seen guys rise to the occasion. Palmanville was a nobody. That one goal put him on the map, not only in Buffalo but the whole league.
You're not wrong.
So yeah. That's part of the thing is, guys get to the playoffs, the adrenaline starts going, the confidence builds. I remember a Miller quote one time where people kept saying chemistry, and he's like, it's not chemistry, it's momentum and confidence. It's confidence in yourself, swagger, and the momentum of the building. Yeah, swagger. There's a lot of names for it, but yeah, you're right. These goalies got. And speaking of swagger, I want to mention, a guy that has been a thorn for Buffalo, whether he's on the Senators or his brother was on the Hurricanes. How about Jordan Staal, man? He's got
he has been
and an assist in 5 games, averaging. He's the age isn't showing. He's looking incredible.
He's been absolutely stellar. He's been stellar. Another surprise. I mean, 10 years ago, yeah, I would expect this from Taylor Hall. Not Taylor Hall. Oh, God, why am I saying that name? Oh, God, why? It just haunts me.
You're addicted to Taylor Hall.
No.
Just can't get enough.
It really is depressing. No, Jordan Staal. 10 years ago, if you told me that, I would expect this from Jordan Staal. Today, at this age, at this point in his career, no, he's more what you kind of expected from Eric Staal to be for the Sabres this season, which he wasn't. But Jordan Staal has just been absolutely lights out. The guy's been a wagon, absolute electric factory. I've enjoyed watching that. He makes that series even more enjoyable to watch, seeing him perform the way he is.
Seriously, he's been so good for them, and that's sort of what you need when you're getting into the playoffs with a team like the Hurricanes, where you have so many young guys who are trying to win for the first time, someone who's done it, a real calming force, and you see him being able to play the style of the NHL playoff hockey and being able to get the rest of the guys on that page. And you see the Hurricanes being able to continue their high event style, even with the tightness of playoff hockey, still averaging over 44 shots per game. So I think it's going to be very tough for the Predators in this one. I think, I'm giving them the slight edge here. I got it so close. Like, I'm not betting on it, but just because Nashville's at home and their recent performances there against the Hurricanes, I'm going to go with them. But this could really be anyone's puck game, if you will, instead of ball game. Get it? But I can't wait to watch this game because both these teams have made for a very, very compelling series. Not like as physical as some of these other series have been, but it has been as entertaining as any of the other ones, Dwayne.
Yeah, it's again. These playoffs have not disappointed at all. I never thought that Vegas Golden Knights series, the Minnesota series, would be this fun to watch. I assumed that Vegas, with their depth and the goaltending itself, was just going to overpower Minnesota. And wouldn't be maybe not a clean sweep, but I definitely saw them winning that series 4-1 or 4-2. To see that go to a game 7, to see the way Cam Talbot has held them in there, it's been a lot of fun hockey to watch. I'm still depressed that the Tampa Bay Florida series is over, because that was probably the most fun series to watch out of all of them. That series blew my mind, how Florida was able to, like, without there being a single injury in net, they played 3 goaltenders in one series. 3 with no injuries. And I personally didn't think they should have went away from Sergei Bobrovsky after the first game, because I don't think Bobrovsky played bad. Like, that, they didn't lose that game because of Bobrovsky. They lost that game because that team is just that good. You have they were getting back that game for the first time in 2 months, both first time all season, Kucherov, and the first time in 2 months, Steven Stamkos, their captain. And they're $10 million over the cap space. Bunch of friggin' cheaters. Yeah, man. Like, the momentum was on their side from the start, especially in those 2 players to begin with. The fact that they were, like, that game was only 5-4, and again, I didn't blame any of that on Bobrovsky. And then they go to Dreger. Dreger goes 1-1, and then they go to Spencer Knight. Spencer Knight wins the game, and then he loses the game. Like, and there's your $10 million goalie sitting on the bench. You love to see it. Love to see it. But I got way off track. We were talking about Nashville Canes. But yeah,
well, we were talking about the entertainment, so you could have took it wherever you wanted. You're good.
Yeah. The entertainment value of the playoffs has been absolutely unbelievable. It sucks too, because you saw that article come out today about not article, just the ratings of viewership of the NHL playoffs for the first time in what, a decade?
That wasn't playoffs. That was
the season.
That was during the regular season. Yeah,
the regular season is like, and I'm sure that it's having some type of an effect on the Buffalo area too. Probably. Here in the playoffs too, and it's just like, could you imagine, man, how this city would be if Buffalo could have found a way to get into the playoffs? We're friggin' had a turd sandwich or a giant douche behind the bench for a coach for the first half of the year. Like, it would, with that team, Sam Reinhart at center, it could have been so much fun to see this team in the playoffs.
We could be getting ready for a party in the plaza right now. We should be at a party in the plaza right now.
Quick story: when they were playing Ottawa, the year they beat them in the playoffs, with the party, I think that was the initial year party. Yep, year party in the plaza, the inaugural season. We brought Danny Heatley and Spezza jerseys into the plaza and literally lit them on fire in the middle of the plaza. In hindsight, probably not the best decision, but in the moment, it was fucking incredible.
That's a great decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fire. There's nothing wrong with fire.
Nothing wrong with fire in public in large crowds.
Nothing can go wrong.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, sarcasm, kids. But the entertainment value has been absolutely unbelievable. I've enjoyed every moment. I've become a Jack Campbell fan and all this. I hate, granted, I actually.
You got mad at me, and you got mad at Kanzi just when he was like,
No. I won't. I'm not going to buy his jersey. First off, I'm not going to buy his jersey. I'm not going to go buy Toronto Maple Leaf memorabilia. But Jack Campbell, I have been given permission to be a fan from Steve Dangle himself because he is American. So I'm not going to go buy his jersey, but I've enjoyed the story. I've enjoyed watching him play. I actually called his shutout the other night. And hopefully, I wouldn't mind, for Steve's sake, them getting out of the first round here too, just so they can say they finally did it. Outside of that, fuck the Leafs.
One feather in our cap we still have, Dwayne, is that we've won a playoff series more recently than they have. You'll lose that. You're really willing to give that away.
Yeah, because this season's been an absolute dumpster fire, and we keep saying it can't get worse than this. Well, let it get a little worse. Whatever. I can sympathize with their fans.
Dwayne's like, give us the Maple Leafs in Buffalo after they win out the North Division, and let them win the Stanley Cup in our arena.
No, that won't happen.
And offer tickets to season ticket holders first, so Dwayne has first dibs.
Oh God, I'm gonna price gouging galore. I'm charging $1,000. I don't care. They want to sit.
There's gonna be Canadians swimming across the river. If that happened.
You want Dwayne from Tonawana's tickets? You're paying top dollar, baby.
Dwayne's gonna be smuggling Canadians across the border. He's gonna get a dinghy and just go back and forth into Fort Erie.
Prediction though for that series though, I do have the Canes winning that series, winning tonight, for sure. And like I said, I already have Toronto. I think Toronto, finishes off the Canadiens tonight as well.
All right, let's just preface this. We gotta get into this game for tomorrow. Like, we need to talk about it. There's just so much riding in that game tomorrow. I think, for my money, this has been my favorite series of the first round. The Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. We're not gonna, get too in depth tonight with this game, but how excited are you guys to see how this plays out and to be happening in Vegas where the crowd is absolutely insane? The theatrics are to die for, Dwayne. It's what we wish we had here in Buffalo.
What would the bigger upset be? The Oilers losing to the Jets or the Vegas Golden Knights losing to the Minnesota Wild?
Honestly, the Oilers losing to the Jets. I've been
I think so.
on the Wild all year. The Wild had a good chance to even win that division until they kind of got a little streaky there at the end, and the Avs really got hot.
I just think I personally think
they didn't just win; they swept up with
they
the home ice advantage. So.
I know people were ragging on Stephen A. Smith for his video, but I mean everything he said was right. You had the NHL leading scorer and the NHL second leading scorer on your team. You were the favorite and the better seeded team coming in. Everything about your team was supposed to be better, and we all know Winnipeg for a good chunk of the season was kind of like a truck fire with the Patrick Laine stuff and all the stuff that surrounded them. Not the Oilers. I'm sorry. The Jets. Yeah, the Jets. Sorry. But you would think that they would have handled them easily. But Connor Hellebuck was Connor Hellebuck.
When he's on, he's one of the best goalies in the entire league.
Stats is back.
He's the best. He's the best for sure. Like, absolutely, Connor Hellebuck, when he's in top form, playoff form, there isn't a better goalie in the National Hockey League or better yet the world than Helly. No, I think that they dropped. Excuse me. They dropped 2 straight.
Yeah,
Vegas. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah,
3-1.
But it's home, right? They're home.
Yes. And that game, the way that game finished too, where it's a 3-0 win and you get all 3 goals there, sort of a domino effect in the third period. That just goes to show, like, the Wild have 0 quit in this series, and you're not going to get them to roll over in Game 7 because these guys are not getting deterred. After 2 periods of goalless hockey, it's like we're going to continue to get after them. Our backs are against the wall. We are a rabid dog right now, basically. You know what I mean? And dude, it's been awesome. We're getting a heavyweight battle basically in the first round, and we can bitch all we want about the way the divisions and everything else and whatever worked out, but to get the Wild and the Knights 7 games in the first round, and then we're gonna get the Avalanche, Wild or Knights. I can't, you can't ask for more compelling hockey and entertaining hockey than that, Dwayne.
No, you can't. And I'm really, really hoping to see, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche face off because that is a must-watch hockey right there. Absolutely must-watch. The NHL wants it. The fans want it. You can say the Wild all you want, but man,
because I think that's a better, more thrilling series because the hockey is going to be a little bit more wide open. I think you're going to get a little bit more skilled play, and that's exactly what the league wants to start really pushing when you're trying to get back into ESPN and you're trying to get younger viewers back into the game and try to grow it. Kirill the Thrill versus Gabriel Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen and Nathan McKinnon. Sign me up for that series any day of the week.
No, I agree. Kirill the Thrill, there was expectations of him coming to the season, but I don't think anybody expected him to perform the way he did this year. Nobody did. I know producer Steve is a huge, huge fan of Kirill.
Carried me to a Trainwreck fantasy hockey championship.
Probably picked up off waivers too to start the season. Honest to God, I know a couple guys who same thing. They got him off waivers. You drafted him. A lot of guys picked him up off waivers. He's been
Vegas. I want the Vegas Avs line.
So do I.
I'll disagree with you, Ty, but I want Vegas. For a lot of reasons. I like what they do. The NHL, the production their team puts on. Like
dropping my gloves over here, bud.
What's that?
I dropped my gloves over here.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll-
Speaking of
I'll
which,
latch
Reeves
on.
is. I just saw a text. Reeves is out, and McNabb for Vegas Game 7.
Another former Sabre. You love to see it.
Yes.
You
I
love
don't
to
know
see
if
it.
they're gonna lose a lot.
Always former Sabres.
Just
Always former Sabres.
I don't know, Vegas. The team too. I just want to say that they look like a Las Vegas team. They all have like long hair and look like they have like they all look like they have like what are they called, like personal like designers like like personal
Stylist.
stylists. There we
Yeah.
go. Like that team is Vegas. They're like Matt Stone, got a good looking captain, woo, makes the ladies woo. I love Vegas. I want to see them. I honestly, them versus the Avs. I don't want to complain more about the divisions. That might be the best matchup of the playoffs. I want to see it, and I'm a Fleury lover. I like.
I'm a big.
Fleury,
I
was in Pitts.
I have a flower jersey actually right over there. Big fan of Marc-Andre Fleury. I think
You're buying other teams' jerseys, huh, Dwayne?
goalies, yes, I will. Marc-Andre Fleury, he's an exception, man. He's just an upstanding human being, a phenomenal world-class goaltender.
Interesting.
I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I would say he's a future Hall of Famer.
If he wins another Stanley Cup, I would definitely say so.
Compared to some names that are in there, I definitely think that he's definitely put 3 cups. The season he's having at the age of 36, it's been fun to watch, and I think that I'm a big fan of like highlight reel glove saves, and you could literally just make a 100-long clip highlight video of Marc-Andre Fleury making windmill Wednesday glove saves time after time after time after time. So much fun to watch. Guy is an absolute stud, a world-class human being too. So I'm a big Fleury fan. I want to see him get to the next round and give me the matchup everybody wants to see, the Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Dwayne, that's pretty much going to wrap it up here for us for the hockey portion of the Trainwreck Playoff Happy Hour. So make sure you guys follow at 2 Goalies 1 Mike for more throughout the night. Dwayne and the guys will be all over it for anything you need, any highlights you missed out on. They'll be on it. And we'll be back here tomorrow to talk about that Game 7 matchup. Going to be absolutely insane. Cannot wait for that one.
Yep.
So thank you guys for tuning in. We got the Happy Hour Hoops guys coming up to break down the games here tonight in the NBA. Cannot wait. Going to be a very fun one. Let's do that hockey.
Let's do that.
Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Happy Hour Hoops here on the Trainwreck Playoff Happy Hour. It is Jake Micah, as always, with my co-host, well, I can't speak, Donovan Holden, some guy named Steve, and Meerkat Cat up in the corner next to me. Guys, we had a interesting night last night in the association before we get to tonight's games. We've had some rowdy fans. We got some dudes that are looking to get their ass beat, honestly.
That is,
in the league.
That's an understatement, rowdy. Let's start with the Knicks game, just because I touched on the fans before. I mean, I feel like maybe 2 times ago we were on. I was asking the question to you guys, and I was wondering if them saying F Trae Young was too far. We saw a fan spit on Trae Young, or at least the video. It appeared the guy spit on Trae Young. It looked pretty clear as day that he spit on Trae Young in MSG during last night's game. I mean, I can't believe I even begged the question if Trae Young was too far. Obviously, this is a bad look for Knicks fans. Of course, it's not all of them, but that's, I mean, we can all agree that's unacceptable. What did you guys think about it? I didn't see it till this morning. I think most people didn't see it during the actual game. I didn't see it until this afternoon, but obviously unacceptable.
I didn't notice it until this morning when it was making its round on Twitter, and I agree, completely unacceptable. I mean, I'm fine with, the Knicks fans going hard with, the Trae Young is balding chants and stuff
I
like
was
that.
gonna
Like
bring that
that's
up.
the
That was
Garden,
great.
you know. Like that's great. Like whatever. Like go hard. It's New York City. It's the Garden. They're back in the playoffs. Like they're supposed to be a wild bunch, so they're doing it. But yeah, don't spit. And, you spit right over 50 Cent. If 50 Cent would have seen that and seen some random dude spitting over him, not even like Adam or anything, he would have murdered him. So that dude got really lucky. But talking about, disrespectful, Tony, you thought I had milk duds on my pizza? Have you never seen the classic Buffalo cup and char pepperoni before?
I actually haven't, and that's
what Buffalo's famous for.
Milk duds. I was just trying to process what.
What are we talking? When did this happen? I missed this.
So between when I was just out with DDZ and now, I went. My dad's like, "Hey, I order a little food. I guess he's having people over now, so it makes sense." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever. You got a quick bite. Go out there." It's a pizza called the 44 Magnum, and it is like it's the size of my entire kitchen table. It's the biggest pizza I've ever seen in my life. And I posted a picture of it like 10 minutes ago. Done. He's like, "What is the topping on that pizza?" And I'm like, "Bro, it's pepperoni."
Don't even
Like, I
that
thought they
was
were
milk duds.
I can see it though, but I can see it. If you've never seen it, you never know.
I didn't
That's
actually
Buffalo pizza,
believe.
Tony.
Yeah, he didn't think it was actually.
No,
I didn't-
obviously, but still, but that's a Buffalo thing. I guess you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never
Buffalo pizza
seen.
is
I've
cup
seen
and char
pepperoni cut like
pepperoni.
that. Yeah, I've seen pepperoni cut like that.
yeah.
Never on pizza though. Never on pizza.
The way we cut it, and then the type of pepperoni most places use it, and when it bakes, it like gets crispy around the edges, curls up into little cups, and it's like burnt. So
Once I knew what it was, it looked appetizing. I was just
I just had to bring that up, clear the air.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on for a second. I was like, "Is this a bad picture?" Like,
perfect. But yeah, all right. So my eyes are pretty shot right now, but my eyes worked last night. We went over that, spitting on Trae Young, unacceptable. Knicks tied up that game though. Incredible comeback. I mean, it kind of looked like the Hawks were gonna do their thing in MSG both games. I mean, up until like the midway through that third quarter, it looked like the Atlanta Hawks were handling things, and then D Rose came to town. Veteran D Rose looked. We saw some hints of Chicago Bulls D Rose in there. No vicious dunks or anything like that, but a leader for sure. Kind of put the team on his back a little bit. Stevie, what'd you see from D Rose last night?
I mean, D Rose saved me. I was big on the Knicks last night. I said it was, my favorite bet of the playoffs, Knicks money line. And Randall, like once again, he kind of came out pedestrian. It almost looked like he was nervous. He just wasn't willing to take on the role of being the guy in the playoffs. And Rose stepped up big time in the second half. I think he scored 26 points last night. Derrick Rose really saved it. And another guy, too. I know he didn't score too many points. I think he only scored 8 points. But I'm loving the minutes, the limited minutes, and what he's doing with them for Obi Toppin. He's making kind of a difference on both ends of the court. And the Knicks, their defense really, it was night and day from first half to second half. First half, I was terrified. But I think you got to question the Hawks and their coaching for letting Trae Young just kind of sit on the bench for, the first 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. What are you doing? It's almost like they're throwing the game. The Knicks go up like
the game
a
just
dozen.
slowly slipping away.
I mean, he wasn't cramping up or anything.
No.
Too. Visibly, you couldn't see anything wrong with him, like him being like, "Hey, I need a minute" or anything like that. He was just sitting. I didn't know what was going on.
And I mean, it's a guy who bet on the Knicks, who was big on the Knicks. I'll take it. I was fine with it. I was just super confused why he's sitting that long. Because when he came back in, instant 9-0 run Hawks, and we had a game again.
Yeah. You know what I want to talk about, the flip side of that, and this is basically for last night and going forward for the rest of the season. We can get to the other games after this, but I just don't like how even before this series, and I think it was Mike Breen calling that game last night, if I remember correctly, everyone just keeps saying why are we worried? Everyone's so worried about D Rose's minutes, and and they're like, oh, well, you can't play D Rose this much in the second quarter or this much down the stretch here because you need the fresh legs for the fourth. It's like, if D Rose wants to be in that game, put him in that game. I know his injury history. He's not that old, dude. I feel like it's getting to a certain point where we're disrespecting D Rose and the player he has been and the player he still is. The Knicks won that game because of D Rose.
Oh yeah,
he was the one consistent piece all the way through. Absolute leader, hitting tough contested 3-point shots, mid-range, turnaround, everything. Like at some point, we got to say if D Rose is comfortable enough to play and he wants to play down the stretch and the entire third quarter, like let him do that. I don't like that we're like putting this handicap on D Rose.
And I think he led the Knicks in minutes last night too, if I'm correct. I think he had like 39 minutes. He was
the
39. Yeah, 39.
You can't limit him. I mean, he looks 100% to me. Obviously, it's not the pre-injury D Rose, but he's a difference maker right now.
And they needed that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go for it, Meerkat.
I was just going to say they needed that because, I was saying how you're going to need guys like to step up in just overall for the Knicks, like quickly and stuff to hit shots. Julius Randle, we talked about, looked flustered in that game. Who was the second best, most dangerous threat on the Knicks outside of D Rose last night? Like Bullock, like they needed that performance out of D Rose, and good on Thibodeau, trusting him and running him for almost 40 minutes. You guys were saying, he shouldn't have that cap. I know the injury history, he is up there in age, but hey, he's disproving it.
Right. I will say, though, if the Knicks want to win this series, R.J. Barrett and Randall have to step their game up for the next couple, especially in Atlanta. They have to.
I think there's something to the fact that, remember there was somebody that said it the other day that they were rattled by the fans and just shook by the amount of people. And look at the guys that showed up last night. It was D Rose, a vet, and Reggie Bullock. You just said two vets that have been in these big time situations before. It's and the younger guys who really haven't seen this, and it's got to just be a system shock to their body, after hearing nothing for over the last year, and then that crowd just going ape shit and hanging on there was one point, it's in the second quarter or something, and it was just chaotic, and RJ Barrett put up a 3 and it was a really flat 3, but if it would have hit, you would hear that place was getting ready to blow up. And just imagine hearing those emotions and the oohs and ahs the whole time. It's got to be just a crazy atmosphere to get used to again. Yes, do you want to get into the other games here? We'll touch on we'll go back with the rowdy fans, Dunny. Russ leaving last night with an injury in their loss to the Sixers. Popcorn dumped on him. Obviously was very upset. There's nothing nothing good to say about that. That kid, he's indefinitely gone, right? They got rid of his season tickets and indefinitely gone from Wells Fargo Center. Probably shouldn't go to any NBA game ever again. That's just unacceptable. But going forward with that series, is there any Wizards hope to even steal a game, make it competitive anymore, or is the spirit just broken for them?
Yeah, I thought we'd see a statement game last night, and it was tough. I mean, Westbrook clearly injured his ankle, kept trying to play, rolled it again. And that's what annoys me the most. It's Westbrook's one of the few guys in the league who lays it out every single night, always hustle, always wants to win, whether you like it or not, whether you think you don't like his facial expressions or things he says off the court. This dude grinds, and for that type of player is the one getting popcorn dumped on him. And he's so good to the people off the court. He gives back to his communities. He's so good with the fans, gives out sneakers to kids almost every game. I don't know. It's just gross, dude. Don't do that. I'm glad his tickets got revoked. I think I would be fine if he's never allowed it back at any NBA game. But that's just me.
Yeah, and it's the spitting thing. You can't be doing that type of shit. You're gonna go viral, or you might be in the moment, but you can't do that stuff. There's definitely a line. And as to the Wizards, I think they're dead. I mean, Westbrook and Beal carrying them was their only hope. I mean, you need a Rui to be that third guy, and now you need him to be the second guy if Westbrook's out, and he's just not doing that. And Beal can't do it by himself with this team. And shout out to Davis Bertans too, taking the mantle from Tony Snell with the new meme. 26 minutes 0 0 0 0 0 0.
That's great.
I love it. That's what you need, right?
Plus a foul out. Unreal. That's the Joel Embiid effect, though. I mean, that's really that's what he can do to you in that game. But you're damn well. I've been trying to start a meme folder in my phone now, and that was an immediate save right to the meme folder. That was a perfect thing to see. Steve, you got anything on your boy Russ or anything before we go to the Jazz game?
I mean, Dunny kind of touched on it. He's a guy who would play 40 minutes every game with whatever teammates he had if he could. But even if Westbrook's back, I just don't see this being a series. It's the Sixers are the worst matchup for the Wizards. Embiid and Ben Simmons just dominate defensively at their positions, and Simmons is just the best matchup for the athletic driving guard like Westbrook. I know I've touched on this all the time, but we watch it and is the exact same thing as Game 1. It's just like they have too much size and Embiid's too good down low for the Wizards bigs, and Ben Simmons just can shut down the Wizards guards. And if Westbrook's not back, it's over in 4 games. And if he is back, I still think it could be a sweep.
Yeah, it doesn't look very well. It doesn't look like it's going to go very well for them back in Washington. Dunny, anything on the Jazz knotting it up last night, albeit an amazing performance by Ja Morant, who really did not want to let them go down without a fight.
Yeah. I don't know. Kind of expected is what we talked about yesterday.
Good response, yeah.
I didn't really see the Jazz losing this game. I'm more impressed by the Grizzlies in that loss than I am by the Jazz in the win, though, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think, it was a fight. Obviously, the Jazz kind of looked like they had controlled the whole game. One big, obviously, super high scoring game. But, I mean, like you mentioned, Ja kind of gave it everything he got. They already stole one on the road. The work that needed to be done for the Grizzlies was done in Utah. They got one on the road. They're headed home. Yeah. I mean, they can't be disappointed with these 2 games in Utah. My only biggest takeaway is, Jake, I said this to you, like, I want a huge night from Donovan Mitchell. And I don't know, 25 points. Yeah.
Shot under 50%, 0 assists. Love it.
Yeah, that's right. I said I don't want to see like a around 20 point after like he was made such a fuss about not playing in game 1. Right. I don't want to see just like a right around 20 point no assist game, and that's what we got. It was still a still a good game. Got the win, but I was really looking for more for a guy who was so outspoken about being sat out game 1.
Yeah, I will say though, the Jazz kind of did what they did in the regular season. They played great team basketball, all starters in double digits, plus Clarkson and Ingles off the bench. When you have those 7 guys all scoring in double digits, you're not going to beat them. So even though we've always said the playoffs, you have to have the star power, you have to have the guys step up. The Jazz proved last night, hey, Ja's going to score 47. Yeah. That's all right. We can win with our balanced attack of shooting you just out of the gym with threes. I think they were 19 of 39 from 3. A great bounce back from the 12 of 49 in game 1. And I don't know how long that'll carry them in the playoffs, but it was kind of nice to see that what the Jazz have kind of perfected in the regular season did work in game 2.
Game ball goes to Mike Conley there. 20 points.
I was about to bring him up.
Yeah. 20 points, 15 assists, and only 2 turnovers. I mean,
he doesn't get enough talk about with that team. Mitchell dominates the talk, and then people pivot to Gobert. It's just like, hey, Mike Conley is a great basketball player and has been for a long time, and is the driving force behind this team right now that people just – people that know basketball and watch the games talk about, but the media and stuff just ignores that. 2015-4 last night, he looked great. He's the facilitator behind that whole team.
Yeah, and one of the best storylines in going into game 3 and for this series when it first came up is Mike Conley returning back to fucking Memphis for game 3. Yeah. Like in a series too. Like that's like that Memphis, Stevie, you were talking about their offense. Like, you don't get to 141 by accident. Like, they were on all cylinders and looked different with Mitch. Maybe Mitchell as the threat helping with the rest of the lineup, but I think the rest of the team just looked more, connected and looked more focused going into game 2 than they did in game 1. But this is going to be a series because the way the confidence that Ja is playing with, and also the fact that, like, what would this Memphis team have been at the beginning of the year if they were fully healthy? Like, we didn't get Jaren Jackson Jr. for most of the year until later on. They've had injury issues all year and battled through it and still ended up in that 8 seed. Like, this is a roster that, you can kind of get yourself and not think too much about it and get yourself to thinking that they could have been, out of the play-in and contending up there with a Portland or Dallas range because of the talent that they're showing. So I think that the Jazz, we were saying they didn't want to say Steph Curry, but maybe this is a much better team, I think, overall than that Warriors team. And Jazz are going to have trouble going in this series, putting that team away, especially going into the grindhouse for game 3. Like that, it is not an easy place to go win playoff basketball games. And that place is going to be rocking in Memphis. And to
Ja's credit, he said, he was a top 5 point guard a few weeks ago, and he's played like one in the
Since
first two
then,
games
yeah.
of these series. He's backed up the talk, and I'm very excited to see what he's going to do at home now in the playoffs.
Well, that was the stat that came out of it today, right? It was the top 4 players in their first 2 playoff performances, like the points. It was George Mikan had 75. Ja comes in at second with 73. Luka in his first 2 playoff games had 70 points, and then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was 69. That's pretty damn good company to be in if you're John Morant.
Decent company.
I did not
It's
see
not
that
bad.
stat. That's crazy.
All right, so let's get into tonight's games, Dunny. We've got from South Beach Heat culture trying to fix themselves up and get back on the map. Down 2-0, facing the Bucks at home in front of probably a raucous crowd down there in Miami today too. What are you expecting from this matchup tonight?
Man, I mean, all I do know is that if Stephen A is calling you out, it's bad news. And Stephen A was all over Jimmy Butler the last few days, and rightfully so. I mean, shot poorly game 1, salvageable stats, like, you know, his performance across the board, pretty solid, and he hit that, you know, game time layup over Giannis to send the game to OT. So really, you know, run of the mill game for Butler in game 1. You want to see more from him in the overtime. He didn't. Game 2, however, it was bad. I mean, obviously not all on Jimmy. Like you gotta play defense if you're the Miami Heat. But I don't know. I mean, I think we were all a little too high on the Heat last time, and we didn't give the Bucks enough credit. I may be willing to double down on the Heat though and say, you know, I don't know, Spoelstra in front of the Miami crowd, Jimmy 2 pretty bad games in a row. He's just not a player that happens 3 times to. I don't know. This is a real toss up for me. This is definitely the hardest pick of the night for me. I think I'll go Heat to cover though.
Damn. All right. Well, that's a damn close cover. You could just sneak in there with a loss there, but you're feeling pretty good about the Heat. Stevie, how are you feeling about this game going into it?
I said this on DDZ. This line reeks of a trap line, right? The Bucks win by 34 in game 2, and now it's basically a pick 'em in Miami. But what I will say too is, in game 2, the Bucks kind of showed me something which I haven't seen from previous playoff Bucks teams. They have depth. Like they played with depth this past game. I mean, Connaughton played well. Bryn Forbes was incredible. Bobby Portis coming off the bench. And Giannis, you know, Giannis is going to do what Giannis does, right? He's going to get you like 10 to 15 rebounds. He's going to score 30. He hasn't had that fully like takeover, everyone's going nuts Giannis game. Middleton was great in game 1. Game 2, he was kind of, you know, he was all right.
The Bryn Forbes show.
It really was.
The Bryn Forbes show.
And so I'm torn on this game because I look at the line and I'm like, they are begging you to bet the Bucks, right? That they want you to bet the Bucks.
Yep.
But I watched game 2 and I'm like, I don't know how the Heat bounce back from this, just the way they're playing. I hate this line. I'm not touching this anywhere. But if gun to my head, if I had to choose a side, sometimes you got to fall into the trap. And I'm going to fall into the trap with the new look Milwaukee Bucks.
I don't know if it's a trap though, man. I don't know. Meerkat, how are we feeling? How are we feeling about this Bucks team tonight?
So I agree with Stevie. The line being an absolute trap. I mean, it's an absolute trap. It doesn't make sense. But Vegas is usually spot on. And I refuse to, you know, go against all my morals and stuff and take the Bucks tonight. Go against my Heat.
Noted Heat fan.
You know, noted Heat fan. Huge Heat fan. Since last year, just because I hated the Bucks so much, and you know, rode with the Heat, paid off. And then it's just like I don't know. I'm not going to touch it, but if I think the Bucks win tonight. Heat aren't. Dunny brought it up. Jimmy Butler's not going to play 3 bad games in a row. Vegas is right. This is going to be a close game, but I think the Bucks just get it done. You know, they have enough now this year. If Middleton keeps playing well in the playoffs, which is something we haven't seen with consistency before, they're deadly.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've really liked seeing with the Bucks the last 2 games, and I've been bullish on them going into the playoffs because they've just looked it was different this year. Like you could tell that they were gaming for the playoffs more. And it remains to be seen what Budenholzer will do in like a high stress situation, if he'll make the necessary adjustments to what they need to do. But I think touching on the Middleton point, his role has been made so much easier this year in the playoffs because he has Drew Holiday next to him. Like Middleton last year was like the primary defender on Jimmy Butler. Like he's covering the best player on every team. Like he had a lot more of a defensive role, and now he can kind of just lock on his guy and take them out. And Drew Holiday takes up so much of that bandwidth for them defensively. And just what Drew Holiday does defensively at all. Like I think he's having a big effect on Jimmy too, when the times that he gets switched onto him and anything. I think that whole defense is just it's a different feel to the intensity that they can have on the defensive end. And I give a lot of credit to Drew Holiday for that, because that's the difference between him and an Eric Bledsoe. Like Eric Bledsoe is fine. Like he's a good NBA player. Like I would say like he's like the perfectly average point guard. Like he's not bad, but he's just right there. But Drew Holiday is an exceptional defender, like one of the best in the league. And that difference is showing in this matchup against the Heat, where they can the other night, I mean, whatever, they were the 46 points in the first quarter is obviously impressive, but it's just as impressive to hold Miami to 20 in the first quarter. Like it's just they're imposing their will on both sides of the court. So I'm going with the Bucks. I honestly think this is going to be a sweep. I don't see this Heat team being able to do anything. Like it just looks like they've got the stars figured out. And I don't know what more Jimmy does. Like I know maybe his will brings him to it, but like the shots are there. Like he has like the opportunities. They're just it's just tougher. Like it's just tougher defense around surrounding him. So yeah, I'm going with the Bucks. I really like this team. And I think they're dangerous just the rest of the way, honestly, the way they look.
Charles Barkley said that this Heat team can't beat this Bucks team.
Never mind, I take it back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you are riding with Charles Barkley, so just do it wisely.
Well, I won't put money on it at least, but
the only last thing I'll say about this series, and then we can move on to Lakers Suns here. Bam having 5 points last game was inexcusable. Like we're talking about, what's going to win the Heat these games. We've been harping on Jimmy Butler a lot, but Bam has to be just as good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all before game one, that first afternoon game, I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday, the broadcast was just going off about, how exceptional Bam and Jimmy were all season long. Bam's a legit number 2 superstar. And I love Bam. I love his game. He's great defensively. I think, he's blossomed into this big that can handle the ball, shoot from outside. He's literally a mini Anthony Davis, but you heard, kind of the crap we were giving Anthony Davis when he had an off game. Bam, if your name's going to be in that light, if you're going to be considered a superstar or a star on the rise, he's got to show up. And even so, like it was a blowout last game. Like 5 points is just it's not going to get it done. It's especially we just harped on how good this Milwaukee Bucks team is. They're for real this season in the playoffs. It's not going to be enough. So look for Bam and Jimmy tonight at home.
The rookies from last year too that looked so good in the regular season, and then popped off in the bubble with Tyler Herro and Kendrick Nunn. Like they've been nearly non-existent. I know Nunn's been decent. Herro coming into the playoffs at the end of the regular season was shooting lights out. He was shooting like 45% from 3 over the last like 12 or 13 games of the regular season. Just disappeared. He another bubble guy that gets all this hype. Everybody loves him. I mean, I got the shirt, Jack Harlow song, great song, but it's just like, dude, you need to show up tonight. You need to start showing up in these playoffs. Duncan Robinson can't be the only guy you rely on from beyond the arc consistently. And Dunny hit the nail on the head with Bam. Bam is a star in this league. You need to play like it when you need your team to win in the playoffs. Step up.
Yeah, our boy Jason Tatum called Tyler Herro out of that a little bit a couple weeks ago too, talking about the bubble guys. And me and Donnie talk. I mean, all of us have talked about that as a theme, like from last year going forward. We were just interested to see like what's real and what wasn't, and we're kind of seeing that with this Heat team. So we'll see what happens tonight. Let's get into it though. Suns at Lakers, Game 3, huge Game 3, obviously tonight in Staples. First time there will be fans inside play at a home Staples playoff game. I can't remember what the date was. It's beyond me, but it's almost a 10-year gap in the last time that there have been fans in Staples for a home playoff game. That place is going to be electric tonight. What are you expecting tonight from Lakers Suns, Dunny?
Man, I do not know which way to lean on this game. If we're going, if we're talking spread, I do like the Suns to cover, but just now that this is knotted up at 1-1 and, kind of the collapse we saw from LeBron and the guys in game one, and then Davis returned the favor and kind of went off in game two, I kind of also in the back of my mind think that Bron could pull off the gentleman's sweep here and just win out with his Lakers. We've seen it before, drop the first game, and then just that's how you motivate LeBron James. Lose one, win the rest when it counts. So I don't really know. And what I want to ask you guys is where do we think CP3 is at? I mean, how banged up is he actually? I mean, I don't know. When he returned in game one, it looked promising, and I was like, oh, it kind of looked like a flop like LeBron was doing on the other side. But game two, I mean, he kind of looked visibly bothered. At least that's how I saw him when I was watching the game.
That's kind of how I feel too, and he's probably the key player for the Suns. I know Devin Booker, we talk about guys in the bubble who really haven't shown it. Devin Booker's been the opposite. Bubble or no bubble, he's stepped his game up big time this year. But CP3, he's going to be the reason the Suns stay in this series if he can, give 100%. He is that guy. He's a tough defender. He's very good in big games. He just gets under your skin when you play against him. And I don't really know. It's a big question mark. So I'm kind of leaning the Lakers here just because I was really impressed what we saw in game two. Anthony Davis, he finally started attacking the hoop, which we saw none of in game one, and that was a big difference. And then you got LeBron, and I think what you said, Dunny, with the gentleman's sweep, LeBron, I feel like he's a big, king of adjusting in series. He kind of sees what they're bringing at him in the first game. Maybe they lose that game or maybe it's a close game. And then the rest of the series, LeBron kind of dictates how he wants the flow of it to go. He made a couple big shots at the end of game two when the Suns were making it a little closer, but I think the Suns can keep it close. I just don't want to bet it. LeBron, he's a moments guy, right? LeBron loves the big spotlight.
What?
Staples Center, home playoff game. I mean, come on now. It's hard to bet against him in that situation.
Meerkat, how are you feeling? Do you have faith in LeBron James tonight to show out in one of these big time games, or are you leaning towards the Phoenix Suns getting a stranglehold, not a stranglehold, but a hold back of the series?
Fuck LeBron, but I mean, I'll just kick it off with that. DDC, I did take the Suns. I took them this morning +7. It's down to 6.5. I think if CP3 is even 10-15% better than he was last game, they're able to get that lethal pick and roll rolling tonight. They got a chance in this one. It's a lot of points. I mean, I think LeBron runs loose, and like I said on DDZ, you're not going to shut down AD and LeBron, but if AD and LeBron are cooking, you're not going to win. So just try to focus on one of them, and I think it's got to be AD. You saw them in game one have a rough game one, and they won. So you can't let them both go crazy, and just focus on one. Try to disrupt AD any way you can, and continue to get, some contributions from guys like Cameron Payne, Cameron Johnson. You need to step up. Booker, keep it up. I think Suns might be able to pull off the win tonight, but if we're talking gambling, 7 points is big. It's big for how good this Suns team is.
It is. I want to stay away from this game completely, like betting wise, just because if Chris Paul is if he feels better tonight, it's a different team, right? And that's what we were touching on. All of you guys have touched on. With Chris Paul, this is a different series, and that's the kind of the disappointing thing about the Chris Paul injury is I would have loved to see it full strength, whatever, but it's. I think that Frank Vogel in the last 2 years has shown that he can make some very subtle in series adjustments that kind of turn the tide, right? And LeBron's always said game one's a feeling out game, and that's right. I feel like that's just him not wanting to actually try hard in game one. But it kind of worked out for this Lakers team because Vogel went away. Obviously, he went away from Harrell completely in game 2, and I'm sure that's going to be the same type of scenario. And they gave basically the last 7-8 minutes of that fourth quarter was all AD at the 5 minutes, and it was AD, LeBron, Caruso, KCP, and Schroeder. And Schroeder, much better game in game 2 than game 1. If he plays like he did in game, like honestly, I don't think we can expect a terrible game from AD again. Like he could have a subpar game, like 20 points or something. I don't think we're getting like another game 1 matchup. But if Schroeder is the one that is cooking still, the team looks so much different when he's effective.
Yeah, I said that on DDZ too. I'm like, I don't think Dennis Schroeder gives you another 24-point, kind of lights out like that 2 games in a row in the playoffs. I mean, that's no disrespect to him. He's been good for them this year, but he's just inconsistent, and that type of performance, it was a big performance. It's not a 40-point game or anything, but that's why they won, was because of Dennis Schroeder. So I don't think he does that again. And we just keep bringing up CP3 a little bit better. They win last game.
Yeah.
And I think CP3's play is reliant on how Schroeder does too. If CP3 is not, as intense or as physical as he is on defense, Schroeder may have another game like that. But if CP3 is back to like being the dog that we known he's been his whole career, I don't think you're going to see Schroeder get 20 points.
It is crazy that they're like former. I wasn't even thinking about it. They were teammates last year, and it's just like weird to see them like in this matchup against each other. And the best one out of the 3 of them might be Shea, regardless. That's the funny part to me too. Little intricacies, which those if we get to see that matchup, they definitely know each other better than a normal scenario. All right, let's get on to it. Meerkats Nuggets. They are being disrespected as 3.5-point favorites. Or 3.5-point underdogs to the Trailblazers tonight. Meerkat, I want you to go out. I want you to give your team a nice little pep talk again tonight. They got a nice win after it on game 2, so we want to keep it rolling here. Give you all the good vibes we can go.
I'm not even mad about the disrespect with gambling wise. Like, it's funny. Like, I'll reap the benefits. I said last game, I'm going to back up the Brinks. Game 1, I said, not betting it. Got to see how it plays out. Too risky. Game 2, said back up the Brinks truck on the Nuggets. What do you know? They win by 20. It's a great game overall for them. I mean, they won. They looked good. And the thing, what I told you guys in the group chat is people, don't watch a lot of Nuggets games because they play West Coast and stuff. They're not a super popular team. But the thing with the Nuggets is they adjust heavily. They throughout the season, they'll lose the first game of a series against an average team sometimes. And then the next 2 games absolutely dominate them. Michael Malone's all about adjusting, figuring out what his opponent's doing. And he's not afraid to, change the complete rhythm of their team, the flow, whatever, the rotations, game in and game out. And he showed that in game 2. And the Nuggets, they're going to let Dame run free. They're not going to be able to stop him, especially at home in the playoffs. But what they can do is shut down the Carmelo Anthonys, the Afronies, all those guys, Norman Powell's. Shut them down. Let Dame do his thing. He dropped 42 last game. Did it matter? No, they got blown out. So let that happen. They're going to be consistent on the board. You didn't even get a great game out of Michael Porter Jr., but these guys are showing they can score deep into this lineup. Paul Millsap still scoring. You're getting points out of Marcus Howard. JaMychal Green is a guy. I mean, Monte Morris, too. I was harping on it. I was saying you need Monte Morris playing at least equal minutes with Facundo. I think he should be leading in minutes. And what do you know? They get equal minutes last game. He has a great game, plays great defensively, changes the tempo of that team, and they crush. I think they go with that again tonight. Let Dame run wild. I don't care. Playoff Dame drops 50 because – it doesn't matter. The Nuggets are going to win.
Wow. Heard it here first.
I can't follow that up. Dunny, you got anything else on that? Stevie knows. He was like, nah.
I mean, how do you follow that, right? I'm just riding with Meerkat here. Meerkat talked me into the Nuggets on DDZ. He did it again on Happy Hour. So give me the +4, and you know what? Give me the money line.
You already locked me in on that group chat we were talking about earlier. I locked it in right after that. I was like, you know what? You're right. That's fucked up. All right, Dunny, what do you got for this game before we head out here?
I do like the spread of this game a lot. For sure going to bet on the Nuggets here. I think like I got a few talking points I want to go over just like outside of win or lose of this game or this series. I want at least one more eruption of Carmelo Anthony before this series ends. Meerkat, I know you don't like.
Don't make me sick, physically ill.
It's so good for the NBA though. Like I love Melo.
I know.
he was my villain at 1.2 for a little bit. Like I didn't really. There was a few years I didn't really like him on the Knicks. But I don't know. He's just that dude. Like he was slept on, out of the league way too long, and to see him erupt in Game 1 of this series was awesome. I more than anything else, even if it's a Trailblazers loss. And then you talk.
Oh, we got a little bump out of Dunny.
no.
He'll be right back in a second.
No.
He made it so long. That's all right.
Yeah.
But jumping on to that, there we go. Get back right into it without even a beat.
Right back into the swing of things. No, but you brought up Dame, and you said 50 points. Doesn't matter. It might not matter. They could still lose this thing. My question to you guys is, have we seen the ceiling of Damian Lillard in the playoffs with this core group of Portland? So I'm talking, all the teams he's had with McCollum, and then, there's been changing pieces, right? He's had LaMarcus Aldridge, but, this team on the Trailblazers where there's an above average wing and then above average big man with McCollum and Lillard. Like, is this the ceiling? Does he need another star? Can Dame make it to the finals with this Blazers team?
No.
No.
I think that this summer is the move. If they lose in the first round here, like they can't get out of the first round, which is I think we all think is the most likely scenario here, that CJ is getting moved in the offseason. It's been too long. Like we've seen this. Like it's the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again with expecting different results. How many times did he run in like these two same guards when we know that guard heavy like offenses and guard led teams don't really win in the playoffs, and especially when you got two of them that they can't really guard anybody either themselves. Like they're both, neither of them are plus defenders, I would say, on the floor at all. It's just hard. I think they got to break it up this year if it doesn't work out, and I don't see it working out because their defense is just fucking atrocious, bro. Like it's bad.
Yeah, no, it's not great at all, and that's where the Nuggets can take advantage with these guys up and down their lineup because they have not good scorers but capable scorers on their bench. Like that's why they can run all these crazy rotations and change up their game because you look at their bench, there's no one who's going to stand out, but all of these guys are people who have contributed in the NBA. It's Austin Rivers, Monte Morris, JaMychal Green, Paul Millsap, guys like that. They're going to be able to take advantage, and I don't think the Trailblazers run that deep. They're so reliant on Dame, and you said it. This is the offseason where they both might be gone. I don't think Dame leaves, but McCollum should be first way out, yeah.
I would be fine if Dame went to the Boston Celtics or something like that.
Oh, you would?
Oh, really? Celtics adding a high-profile, kind of older point guard. It's never gone wrong for them.
What could go wrong?
I'd also take hometown boy CJ McCollum back in the land in Cleveland, but we'll just won't be picky there. They can have Colin Sexton, honestly, if they want.
I like how we're just moving Portland star players, and this is a 1-1.
It's a 1-1 series, and they're home tonight. Yeah, favorites. You guys get traded. On that note, we're gonna wrap it up here for the night. That is the Trainwreck playoff happy hour. We've got tip in about 15 minutes for Heat Bucks, and then late night tonight. Meerkat, I know me and you will be up, paying very close attention to both these Lakers and Nuggets games. I hope that Stevie and Dunny, that you guys are able to stay awake as long as possible tonight for these matchups. Honestly, the other night I was trying really hard. I made it through the Lakers game the other night, but I was asleep with like 6 minutes left in the Clippers game. I was very disappointed in myself waking up.
Oh, I stayed up for that
one. But yeah, we got some great late night games tonight as well. So follow us at Happy Hour Hoops 1. Follow us at Trainwreck Spurts. For Donovan Holden, some guy named Steve, and Meerkat Cat. See you boys later. Stay hydrated and enjoy.